Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. This is our CPU market update for September 2023. And oh my goodness, CPU prices are totally insane right now. We see some big price cuts on some big ticket CPUs. At the same time, other CPU prices are actually going up. We've got Starfield bundles on the AMD side, and we've got Intel launching the 14th gen CPUs very soon. We'll go through what we expect in terms of performance. And of course, we'll talk about the best CPU for gaming at the budget level, at the mid-range, and at the higher end. Remember, if you get value out of the video, give it a like. It makes a huge difference for the channel. And of course, subscribe, click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. With that, let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Best Buy's top deals, with great deals on PC gaming and electronics. From gaming laptops like this Asus TUF Gaming A16 with Ryzen CPU and 7600S GPU for just $899, to this HP Omen 240Hz 1440p gaming monitor for just $349, to this SteelSeries Rival 3 gaming mouse for just $24.99, to deals on the latest phones, TVs, and more. Shop worry-free with Best Buy's price match guarantee and get your products fast with in-store pickup or fast delivery options. And Total Tech members get exclusive offers. For the best deals on the latest tech, check out Best Buy's top deals using the link in the video description. Before we jump into CPU prices, let's quickly go through the Starfield deals. That's right, Starfield deals you're going to get with buying a Ryzen 7000 series CPU. Now, we already went through the Radeon deals that you get in our GPU market update video, so I'll leave that link down in the video description. Also linked down there is our Starfield best builds, starting at $600 going up to $1,250 for 1080p, 1440p, and 4K. So right now through the end of September, at least unless AMD extends that offer, you can get Starfield, the standard or premium edition, depending on which CPU you buy, when you buy a Ryzen 7000 series CPU, as long as you redeem the code by the end of October. Again, AMD might extend this, so check that out. But basically for gamers, you're gonna end up with a standard edition $69 value, because those are the gaming CPUs, the Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 series CPUs, so like the Ryzen 7800X3D, the Ryzen 7600, so on and so forth. The Ryzen 9 series CPUs, more productivity focused, obviously come with the premium edition, which has a number of other goodies attached to it. For those of you buying either Intel CPUs or Ryzen 5000 series CPUs, you're out of luck. You can either buy the game itself or you can buy a Radeon GPU that comes with it. Starting off on the AMD Ryzen side, oh my goodness, what is going on here? Look at all that red. What is happening? We'll go through the Ryzen 7000 series CPUs. That's where you're going to see most of the price increase. I suspect we're seeing AMD take a little bit of profit while the getting is good, while they got that Starfield bundle. Let's start off on the Ryzen 5000, more on the budget side. The Ryzen 5500, good, back down to $91. Love to see it down another 8%, kind of back where that May pricing is. Now, we've been taking a look at pricing every 2 months or so, so this is since July of 2023. The 5600 is another one, that went back up to $138. It's kind of stayed at that level, unfortunately. Right now, you can get an Amazon for $145.15, and then you get a coupon for $5.16. I don't really understand. Why don't you just cut the price, man? That's just so confusing. Just remember to click these coupon boxes if you're going to go ahead and buy a 5600. The 5700X CPU, we'll have to see if this makes it more recommendable. Comes back to its May price, kind of to $188 after going way too expensive at $205. And then we've got the 5800X 3D, $323. That is the most expensive that CPU has been for quite some time. Obviously, if you have like a Micro Center closer to you, you can get it for cheaper. We're just going through prices that are widely available in the US right now, so online retailers like Newegg, Amazon, and others. Jumping over to Ryzen 7000 series CPUs, and ouch, AMD, what are you doing to me? Raising the price of that CPU from $199, which is a fantastic price in July. I think all of us were hoping that pretended huge discounts to come, but no. Back up to $219. Don't love it at all. Remember, between the 7600 and 7600X, there's really no difference. 7600 is the one that's on $219. The other one, 7600X, is selling for like $245 right now. It does come with Starfield. I'm trying to remember if it was coming with Starfield in July when we saw it at $199. Let me know down in the comments if you remember it coming with Starfield or not. But I will say it had been cemented really firmly in that best mid-range gaming CPU. We'll have to see later in the video if it gets knocked out of its perch there. 7700X, unfortunately, that has also come up about $30 since May. That's, don't love it. You do get the standard edition of Starfield, but you're paying $30 more. So it kind of feels a little bit like a wash there. The 7700, of course, does come with a really nice included stock cooler. It's the Wraith Prism. It's more than adequate for the CPU. So 2 thumbs up there. I loved it at $297. But then we've got a huge bright spot, the 7800 X3D, which was absolutely crushing everybody in terms of the high performance gaming CPU last time. We'll have to see where it ranks this time. Has come down another $40. $40. It is now $399. And it comes with Starfield. I don't know what is going on here, where the highest end CPU is $399. The only thing I can think of right now is that AMD is already positioning the CPU versus the 14700K that's going to be launching either in September or October. We'll have to find out later in the video. Higher core count Ryzen 7000 series CPUs, it's kind of a mixed bag. On the one hand, the 7900, 7900X, 7950X, and 50X 3D all came back up. And they're on a bad trend. They're on a bad trend right now. But the 7900X 3D has just been absolutely plummeting in price. I kind of think it's because it's just a weird part. 7900X 3D, you only get the 3D V cache on 6 of the cores because it's split over 2 CCDs. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like buying a Ryzen 7600X 3D and a Ryzen 7600 and smashing them together. And I'm not sure a lot of people are looking for that kind of part. All right, moving over to the Intel CPU side of things. And I just don't understand what Intel is doing. It's almost like they are absolutely standing still and just letting AMD run right past them. But remember, it is possible that we're gonna see bigger discounts on the 12th and 13th gen Intel CPUs as we get closer to the 14th gen launch. Let's start off with the budget range. Honestly, not a lot of change since May. Up $3 is not really that big a deal. It's just kind of a normal fluctuation. $92 right now for the i3 12100F. Remember the difference between the F and the non-F, it's just whether or not it has the integrated GPU. Most people don't use that, so we're gonna disregard it. We're just gonna go with the cheaper of the two, the F or the non-F. Most of the time, it's the F SKU. $92, again, great budget CPU. Can it knock off the Ryzen 5500 though, especially given the 5500 just had price cuts? The 12400, I love to see it come down in price. Really, really nice little discount, $142. The same price, almost the same price as the Ryzen 5600. So obviously, you know, and again, here we go again with it's $149 and then you apply a $7 coupon. Come on, guys, just cut the price. Just cut the price, man. It's enough of the coupon stuff. But it is nice to see the 12400F come down. The big challenge for Intel is the B660 and B760 motherboard selection. They tend to be quite a bit more expensive, $20, $30, almost sometimes $40, $50 over their Ryzen B550 competitors in the budget tier. And when you're building a budget gaming PC, that actually can equate to a lot of money, especially when they're the exact same level of performance. But I do see that B660 motherboards have come down in price, so maybe it'll give the Ryzen 5600 a run for its money. 12600K, $197 right now. It actually was on flash sale a couple of times, as low as I think $164. $164. At $164, that CPU becomes very, very interesting. $200, it's too close to the 7600, which way outcompetes it in terms of gaming performance. Now this is for the KF SKU. The K SKU is the one that actually went down to $164 earlier this month. Unfortunately back up to $197. Again, we'll have to see where this makes it rank though in terms of good productivity CPUs. And the 12700K, I just don't know what's going on with that CPU. It slammed down to $219 and bounced right back up to $268. Why would anybody buy a 12700K right now for $268 when you can get a 13600K for like the same freaking price and it outperforms it? All right, moving over to 13th gen Intel, and honestly, I don't have much for you. I just don't have much for you. I don't know what Intel is waiting for here in order to start cutting some prices. You can see back in May, the 13600K was $259, and that CPU becomes way more competitive, especially for you hybrid gamers and higher end productivity users out there against the 7600 or even 7700 at $259. But at $285, it just kind of starts to lose its edge, especially if you just game. That CPU really doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm waiting for that thing to come down to like $200. Same with the 13500 and 13400. CPUs that just absolutely don't make any sense. 13400 was $164. It has been flat at about $207, $210 the entire time since. Honestly, I just don't understand what Intel is waiting for. Start cutting prices out there. Let's jump straight into the CPU news and let's just straight into Intel's Raptor Lake refresh launch. That's right, this is Intel 14th gen launch. We got some new information and it looks like the announcement is impending on us right now. We'll also cover the launch. We're expecting the launch of the 14600K, 14700K, and 14900K, and their KF variants, obviously without the integrated graphics. Just like all the 12th gen and 13th gen launches, those come first. Then we'll probably get the locked parts in January. That's what they've done with the previous launches as well. So don't expect like a new 14400 just yet. But Video Cards says that they've gotten a hold of embargo documents, and according to Video Cards, the sales and review embargoes lift at the same time, which is October 17th at 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So that's when both reviews are going to go live and you'll be able to buy the CPUs themselves. In terms of when they're going to be announced, though, it's going to be Intel Innovation Day. I'm going to bet the farm on this one right now. I don't have any inside information on it. But September 19th, who's the keynote speaker? Oh, look, it's Pat Gelsinger, the CEO of Intel. What does he do every year at Intel Innovation? Yeah, he announces the next upcoming series of CPUs. So we can expect literally days from this video going live to get some real data, at least first-party data from Intel in terms of what their CPUs can do. And then you'll have to wait about a month in order to get all the reviews and all the fun stuff from third parties themselves. But according to The Verge, they've got a leaked slide if you want to find out what the performance is. According to MSI, who supposedly accidentally leaked this slide, you can take all that with a grain of salt. According to this slide, at least, the uplift is about 3% single-threaded in gaming between like the 13600K and the 14600K, and so on and so forth, except for the 14700K, which also is going to be faster in multi-threading because it's going to get 4 additional E-cores, which the 13700K doesn't have. It's the only one where the core count is changing from its 13th gen counterpart, unfortunately. Now you might say 3%, oh my gosh, that just doesn't sound like much. I will say, however, one of the things you might also see is that the memory controllers on the 14th gen for DDR5 may be vastly improved again over 13th gen. So that might allow them to clock even faster RAM than we're clocking right now. And as a result, we've seen like with the 7200 CL34 RAM, when you use it with a 13700K, you can get quite a bit more performance out of these Intel CPUs using super fast RAM. So that coupled with the release of new Z790 motherboards that are coming down the pike that were just announced by all the various board partners might portend a little bit more performance than 3%. Speaking of new motherboards, all the major board partners announced Z790 motherboards. The Pro version, Gigabyte called them the X version. How many X's do we need, by the way? It's like either X or XT. Stop. I am super excited by these Gigabyte motherboards. Let me tell you why. Look at that PCB. It's white PCB. Gigabyte, you did a great job. Just keep making motherboards that look like this. 2 thumbs up there. Obviously, Gigabyte's not the only one who does all white PCB, but they're the only one of the major board partners that I can think of right now that's doing all white PCB. So anyway, I'm super excited about these motherboards. The other thing I'm excited about the motherboards that I've quickly glance through their specs is it looks like the return of high-end audio codecs on these motherboards. 2 thumbs up there. All right, let's jump into the best CPU for gaming and productivity in September 2023. If you're not familiar with how we do this, we basically take all the CPUs that we've been talking about, we take their price, and we add up what a system would cost. So we add in the cost for a cooler, the cost for the motherboard, and the cost for RAM. For production systems, we guarantee 32 gigs of RAM. For gaming systems, it's at least 16. Most of the DDR5 kits now are 32 gigabytes, so there's a little discrepancy there. We take those costs into course and then we divide it by the score, either gaming score or multi-core score, and we get a price of performance for both production and gaming. And then we compare them against each other. You can, of course, jump into the spreadsheet. I'll leave a link to it down in the video description. This is US-based pricing. You can put in your own pricing. I've got instructions on how to do that over here, so check it out. Taking a quick look at platform costs, motherboard costs continue to fall across the spectrum, especially for Z690 and Z790 motherboard, both DDR4 and DDR5 boards over the last 2 months. RAM costs at the DDR4 level have pretty much bottomed out, except for the premium kits continue to fall just a little bit. But for the higher end DDR5 kits, they continue to come down in price. I've actually added in here Intel Ultra RAM. I haven't used it yet, but it's in there if you want to play around with it. And the cooler costs pretty much the same as they've been in the last couple months. Jumping over the best budget gaming CPU, and look at that. Yes, the Ryzen 5500. just continues to maintain its performance and price advantage over the 12100. Now listen, the 12100, it does come with PCIe Gen 4, the 5500 does not. Honestly though, for a budget gaming PC, do you need it? No, you absolutely do not. As long as you don't do something silly and pair it with the 6500 XT, which is a garbage tier graphics card anyway. So $32 difference right now, and look, you can see the price to performance difference is absolutely huge, especially with availability of cheaper B450 motherboards with BIOS flashback on them. We will have a best budget gaming PC build guide coming out relatively soon for around that Black Friday period, so stay tuned for that. I was hoping that the 12400 might make up more ground on the 5600, but unfortunately, it's just a difference between the cheaper B550 motherboards out there, and you got to be very specific about getting the right motherboard for the 12400. A number of those boards, when we tested them, didn't run it at the full frequency, so given that, it comes out quite a bit more expensive, actually about $40, $45 more expensive, and that's a whole graphics card tier right there, especially at that budget level. The rest of the CPUs here just really not worth buying, unfortunately, because as you'll see in the mid-range CPUs are really competitive versus them. Jumping over to mid-range production PC. So this is where the multi-core score is 170 or greater, and the price is $700 or less. And look at that. Yeah, Intel continues to maintain its advantage in terms of productivity. So if you are somebody who does tons of creator work professionally, if you're someone who does all kinds of multi-threaded work professionally, and you want a little bit of gaming too, these are not slouches in terms of gaming performance, then Intel is absolutely dominating. 1200K, especially given the pricing and given the pricing of some of the Z790 motherboards have come down quite considerably. I've actually switched these over to B660, B670 boards using a more budget tier board like you would for the i5 12400. Should be just fine on them. And the performance on it is really, really good with DDR4, but relatively budget DDR4. 13500 is up there, but unfortunately, it's really never lived up to its performance advantage for the 12700K. But if you want something that's slightly better for gaming, that's not a bad one to get as well. In terms of Ryzen CPUs, the 5700X, while it's the cheapest, I think, to put together here, $362 total cost, it's just the total performance doesn't really catch up to all of these CPUs with tons and tons of cores on them like some of the Intel ones. All right, jumping over the best mid-range gaming CPU, and look at that, despite coming up $20, the Ryzen 7600 just absolutely blows everything else out of the water. The CPU is just very, very price efficient for the level of performance. Remember, the 5600 and all those budget CPUs like the 12400 hit a really hard wall, probably around the performance level of like a 6800 XT, 7800 XT that just came out, or like an RTX 4070. But the 7600, you could honestly stack that all the way up to just about a 4090, although obviously if you can afford a 4090, you can afford a higher end gaming CPU, but you get the gist of it basically. And you can do all that for $488 in terms of the total platform. Crushes anything else. I really think we need to see the 13600K, even using cheaper DDR4 RAM, just isn't price competitive with the 7600. It's really, really crazy. It's mostly Z690, Z790 motherboard pricing, and those B650 motherboards continue to fall in price overall. As is DDR5 RAM at the budget level. And note, I have increased the Ryzen RAM requirements up to 6000 CL30 or 5600 CL28, effectively the same speed, given the fact that AMD released its new AGESA on Ryzen 7000 that will allow you to easily clock up that RAM. The rest of the CPUs on here, 7700, just no reason to buy them at the mid-range. Jumping over to performance production before we get to high performance gaming, which I know a lot of folks are waiting for. This is where the multi-core score is 330 or greater, and there's no price cap. And look at that. Once again, we have basically a tie between the 13900K and the 7950X, although 7950X, because it's increased in price, has lost its very, very slight technical lead over the 13900K. 13700K looking pretty good out there with DDR4 premium RAM as well. And $730, quite a bit cheaper. Same price for performance, but quite a bit cheaper in terms of the total platform cost. So if you're looking for a high performance system, definitely something to look at. Again, this is for high performance production, not just gaming, but any of these CPUs are also going to be really, really fantastic for gaming. Let's jump to the best high performance gaming CPU in September 2023. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised. I expected the 7800 X3D to continue to walk away with it. But the 13700K using fast, but not ultra fast DDR5 RAM. So this is like 6000 CL30, same stuff you would buy for Ryzen. And And the cheaper Z690 and Z790 motherboards out there allow it to come within spitting distance, basically, of the 7800X 3D. Pretty impressive, especially if you're somebody who wants to do both super high-end gaming and you want to do super high-end production. The 13700K looking pretty smart right now. I also did throw in configurations with ultra-fast memory, so that's 7200 CL34, and specifically specifying then a Z790 higher end premium motherboard so you can clock up that RAM to that speed, and they don't fare as well. That's right there below the 7900X 3D, and then the 13900K version below the 7950X 3D. So those didn't fare as well. I still think in terms of price and performance, obviously they have more overall performance. But if you're looking for price or performance, the other one to look at, 7900X 3D, might be good in terms of both production and performance. A little easier to cool than the 13700K, but I gotta tell you right now, 7800X 3D and the 13700K, those look like the kind of two that are neck and neck. Obviously, one comes with Starfield, so if you're looking to play that game, 7800X 3D probably makes a ton of sense. The other thing I will say, obviously, Ryzen 7000 comes on a platform where you're gonna be able to drop in and upgrade in the future, so you can really make the choice there. But in terms of right now, for getting future upgradability, they're really neck and neck. Let's play everyone's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? Well, it really depends. If you want Starfield, if you do, there's no reason to wait. Intel performance is not going to move the needle enough. I wouldn't wait for Ryzen discounts. That's all going to happen in October. And you're going to miss out on the Starfield bundle. And more importantly, you're going to miss out on playing Starfield when everybody else in the PC community is playing it, which is right now. And that's always a great thing about these game launches that go really, really well in the PC communities. Everybody's playing it. It's a lot of fun. If Starfield's important to you, buy now. Buy the CPUs that we already talked about at the various budget levels. And if you're looking for Starfield builds in particular, we did 3 builds starting at 600, then going to 900 for 1440p, and finally 1250 for 4K. And we gave it an upgrade option for super high FPS 4K. For $1,500. So check those out, link down in the video description. But if you're not interested in Starfield, let's start off at the high end. Is it worth waiting for the 14900K and 14s? Possibly. 7800X 3D, if you're just a gamer, 7800X 3D is down to $400. Could go back up. So you could end up shooting yourself in the foot by waiting. But we have Amazon Prime possibly going to do another Prime Day like they did in October of 2022. That'd be something worth waiting for. Probably see lower prices. Black Friday is coming up as well. But at the high end, I don't really see pricing moving that much. So I would just go ahead possibly and build right now. So it's kind of a yellow light. It's up to you. At the mid-range, if you're not interested in Starfield, I could definitely see some movement of CPU prices around the launch of the 14th gen Intel. So I would probably wait in the mid-range again if you're not interested in Starfield. At the budget tier, it's hard to say go ahead and wait because I don't really see those CPUs really moving much. The 14th gen Intel CPUs that we're going to get are going to be higher end CPUs in the mid tier to the high end. We're not going to get the locked versions of those just yet. So I don't really see pricing moving a lot. It's possible that Intel will lower prices a little bit to like get the 13400 moving, but you already have the 12400, you got the 5600. That segment is really, really well served. So I would say go ahead and build now. Remember, if you got value out of the video, give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel, especially this guy right here. And of course, subscribe. Click that bell icon, that way you get notified when we release cool content. Hey, speaking of cool content, did you check out our GPU market update? We do the same thing. We go through the best GPU for $200 for 1080p, 1440p, and 4K. Check it out right here. It's a great time, and we'll catch you on the next one.